Welcome back to the channel. This is Oblivion, and in today's video we're doing another re-refine video voted on by the community. That's right, all 4 of these units were voted on by the community in my weekly community poll. So if you would like to help decide the units who will be in the next re-refine video, make sure to vote in the poll in the description down below. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Our first unit is going to be Cherche, and Cherche is an amazing green axe flyer, one of the best we got with the original game. Cherche was one of the first units I +10'd, and she was an amazing unit who could destroy pretty much everything, even red units because of her massive attack stat. Back in the day before she had a refine, I ran Brave Axe, and luckily they decided to give her a preference Brave Axe, which is amazing. But what makes this weapon truly great was the ability for her to support with Panic from a distance. Unfortunately, over time this weapon has fallen off for sure, and she doesn't have exactly the same amount of power as she once had. She can struggle to kill a lot of enemy units. So let's see what we can do to make Cherche a bit more powerful and also give her a little bit of a unique niche as a green axe flyer. So for the weapon's new effect, she's going to get grants attack +3 and inflicts speed -5. At start of turn, unit can move 1 extra space. If unit initiates combat, inflicts attack and defense -6 on foe, foe cannot make a follow-up attack, and unit attacks twice. So what I've done here is I've just made Cherche's axe a bit more powerful, granting that attack +3, and then also inflicting attack and defense -6, so that once again she can hit a little bit harder and take a little less damage if she actually does get a crackback against her. The extra movement allows Cherche to be exceptionally mobile and allow her to just go in and smash enemies. And if you run something like a trace skill, she can even get out, which is amazing. She gets a nice impact effect in her weapon, so if somehow she doesn't kill those 2 hits, the enemy can only hit her back once, and usually she has enough HP and bulk so she can usually survive it. And then lastly, we still have that Brave effect, so she can still be a monster in player phase. But let's go ahead and check out her new refine and see what else she can do. So for Cherche's new refine, we have at start of turn, converts bonuses and inflicts guard on foes within 3 rows and 3 columns centered on unit. If unit initiates combat or unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack and defense -3 on foe, and neutralizes foes' bonuses to attack and defense during combat. So when Cherche's original refine came out, the Panic was actually quite strong, but nowadays it's pretty much fallen off and the limited range doesn't offer much. So what I decided was to make the Panic not only just be in cardinal directions, but also in a 3-row, 3-column area, which is absolutely massive and can allow her to support her allies from a great distance. Not only that though, it also inflicts guard. It can just completely cripple enemies, which is insane. The best part about this effect though, is that it no longer has an HP threshold. So no matter what, she's going to be crippling enemies on every single turn, as long as they're within her range. The last thing I think Cherche really needed was a little bit more power, and a great way to do that was to put low attack defense into her weapon, something that she can't usually have access to as a flyer. Overall, I think this refine would allow Cherche to become an extremely mobile, threatening flying unit that can not only destroy opponents, but also support the team. Our next unit is the sniper, Innes, and Innes has completely fallen off, to be honest. He wasn't always the best unit anyways. The tactics effect that was based off adjacent allies to get some buffs was never very good, to be honest, and even though his refine gave him a cool little niche where he could attack into magic and dragon foes without being counterattacked, it often wasn't enough for him to actually kill anything. So let's see if we can give him a new weapon effect and new refine and make him shine alongside his younger self. For Innes' new weapon effect, we have grant speed +3, effective against flying foes. During combat, boost units attack, speed, defense, resistance by number of allies within 4 spaces ×2, max of +8. And deals damage equal 20% of unit speed. With this new weapon effect, I wanted to keep the tactics feel to the weapon, but I wanted to extend the range drastically so it was actually usable and quite powerful, giving up to +8 stats. Not only that, I wanted to give him a bit of true damage so that he could have that sniper feel and also help his abysmal attack stat. Let's go ahead and jump over to his new refine to see just how unique this new Innes is. His new refine is magic and dragon foes cannot counterattack. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack and speed +6. Reduces damage from foes' first attack by 70%, and also calculates damage using the lower of foes' defense or resistance. The goal of this refine was to make Innes unique, but also give him enough power and survival so that he could take out enemies. So first we granted him attack and speed +6 just to help him with those base stats a little bit, then we gave him damage reduction so that he can actually survive against melee threats. His abysmal 14 defense makes it so he pretty much explodes whenever he attacks into anything that can attack back and targets defense. And then lastly we gave him adaptive damage, allowing him to really target the enemy's weakness like a sniper would and completely destroy them. This refine makes Innes very unique and unlike any archer in the game, and would allow him to take on anyone as an opponent. Our next unit is the series mascot herself, Anna. Anna is one of the 3 Asker trio, and with that she has some unique problems, like her inability to be merged, but she also gets some unique advantages, like being a common bonus unit for things like Arena and Ether rates. Not only that, she's also one of the first units every single player will get with a new account. Anna's original refine was actually pretty cool. I love how our original weapon refine just allowed her to teleport everywhere, kind of like an homage to like how she's able to pretty much be in every single Fire Emblem and kind of just show up whenever she wants. It's a very powerful effect, but unfortunately Anna has definitely fallen off with that low BST and abysmal attack stat. So let's see if we can give her weapon a new effect to make her a bit more powerful and really play up that teleportation. The new effect is Accelerate Special Cooldown -1. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack, speed, defense, and resistance +5, and neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown charge -X on unit during combat. If unit's HP is less than or equal to 75%, unit can move to a space adjacent to any ally. So with this new effect, we let Anna really play up her teleportation, granting a higher HP threshold for her teleportation, essentially giving her escape route 4, which is phenomenal and will let her pretty much show up anywhere she wants to on the map. We also give her those very necessary stats she needs and special acceleration so that she can do cool things like Gale Force even better. And then lastly, we give her that anti-guard part of tempo, so that way she can guarantee get her specials off, like in a Gale Force comp, or if you want to run a higher cooldown special. But where Anna takes it to the next level is in her Refine. If an ally's HP is less than or equal to 75%, unit can move to a space adjacent to any ally. Grants effects based off the number of time unit has been enhanced by Dragon Flowers. Greater than or equal to 2, grants attack, speed, and defense resistance +5 during combat. Greater than or equal to 5, grants special charge +1 and deals 5 damage per unit's attack. And then lastly, greater than or equal to 10, neutralizes effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks during combat. Anna's new Refine grants her Wings of Mercy 4, allowing her to easily get in next to any ally and start that Gale Force train if you want to, or just blow up an enemy with a powerful special. Next, we have that Dragon Flower effect to play up the greedy side of Anna, where she loves money and doing business. We've seen this on other units with similar interest, and I think it suits Anna quite well. We tack another +5 to all stats onto her weapon, giving her a grand total of +10, hopefully helping with her lack of BST, but in all honesty, the effects of her weapon is what makes her really strong, as the +5 Dragon Flower enhancement grants her a Blade 4 skill effect, similar to Flashing Blade 4 or Heavy Blade 4, where it gives her special acceleration every time she hits, and a bit of true damage. And then lastly, with the 10 Dragon Flower enhancement, she gets half of NAU to make sure that she always gets that follow-up attack in. This weapon refine allows you to build Anna exactly how you want, even if that's Gale Force, big cooldown specials, or just helping out your allies. It gives her a ton of power, but most importantly, makes her the queen of teleportation. Last but not least, we have the #1 unit voted in the poll, Leo. Now unfortunately, Leo has never been really a great unit. His original weapon effect had a gravity effect on it, which was interesting, but not overall that great. And then after getting his Refine, he had like a magic damage reduction, which was okay. And then he could stop follow-up attacks against ranged units, but only if his defense was higher, which was a stat he didn't even stack usually. This unfortunately kept Leo from ever being a meta-defining unit, or even really particularly good, to be honest. And this was further exacerbated by his low 29 attack, which he even had a Super Bane in. When it came to his new weapon effect and Refine, I really wanted to capture Leo's personality, where he is a genius magic user and he always is very tactical when it comes to combat, always picking fights he can win and always gaining advantages whenever he could. So let's see if I was able to capture the spirit of Leo in this new weapon effect. Grants attack +3. If unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, or foe's HP is less than 100%, inflicts attack and resistance -6. Unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, and if foe has an effect that would reduce damage by a percentage, that effect is neutralized. And also the unit reduces damage of the next attack by the percentage that was neutralized. So with this effect, Leo becomes much more powerful, not only getting that attack and resistance -6, but a guaranteed follow-up attack and completely neutralizing damage reduction. But to take it even one step farther, he steals it. So let's say you're fighting an opponent with 40% damage reduction, they no longer have that and Leo does. This will give Leo the bulk he needs to be able to survive the counterattack so he can get that second big hit in and hopefully take out the enemy. This effect was inspired by the Heartseeker skill from Fates, where it inflicted -20 avoid on enemies. So I thought it'd be a good idea to be kind of able to neutralize the dodge effect, which gives damage reduction, but I want to take it one step further and actually have Leo take that for himself to kind of give him that tactical feel where he's taking advantage of the opponent. Now let's jump to his Refine and see where Leo really becomes an insane unit. If unit initiates combat or foe's HP is less than 100%, grants attack and resistance +6, and before a unit's first attack, grants special cooldown count -2. Those within 3 spaces have their resistance treated as if it was 20% lower. So this is a very powerful effect. Essentially, it's going to give him the attack and resistance he needs, but more importantly, it's going to let him charge his special before he gets off that big first hit. So you could run something like a Glimmer or a Moonbow or Rupture Sky, and he's going to be able to guarantee get that on the first hit, and because he steals the enemy's damage reduction, they're not going to be able to reduce it at all. And then most importantly, he reduces the enemy's resistance by 20% if they were within 3 spaces. This is not only going to allow Leo to hit much harder, but it's also going to allow him to support his magic allies. The best part of this effect is how well it scales. Against enemies with only 30 resistance, it will only take off -6, but when you start to get into those really powerful tanks, it can easily shoot up to 12 resistance, which is an insane debuff. The inspiration for these effects came from Leo's personal skill in Fates, Pragmatic, where whenever he attacked an enemy whose HP was not full, he dealt additional damage. And also Malefic Aura, another skill from Fates, where enemies within 2 spaces took more damage. Hopefully with this refine, I made Leo a powerhouse red mage cav, and also allowed him to have some powerful support. But most importantly, I hope I captured his personality and tactics in battle. So what do you think? Were the refines powerful enough? Would this be enough to make these units into meta threats? Or did I take it a bit too far and make them ridiculously powerful? I'd love to hear your opinions about all the refines in the comments down below. And also make sure to vote in the next community poll so you can help decide the units who will be on the next video. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe, as it helps keep the content coming. This has been Oblivion, and I'll catch you all later with more Fire Emblem Heroes.